Good Wednesday, everybody. It's Jim. It's Amadeus. And, you know, in the pre show, you were talking about you got your first snowfall up there in the Hamilton area last night. And so, what do you think of when you think of snow? You think of golf, of course. And there's going to be some golf this weekend. How about that?
Yes, it's definitely it was the first real snowfall anyway. I
Mm-hmm.
say real aware that it's actually staying on the ground when you look outside. This nice coat of white across everything. So that's good. It was a weird day. It was. I woke up to it like it looked almost like a blizzard outside, and then the
Mm.
sun came through a few hours later, and then it was started to snow again, and then the sun came out. So yeah, it was a wild day, but. Yeah, that leads us right into some golf.
Absolutely. In Orlando, we got golf this week. It's the Hero World Challenge. And, you know, Tiger Woods is back. How about that? Now, Tiger Woods is back. That's good news. Here's the problem the money's going, but it's not going on Tiger. The good news is it's a 20-man field. Okay, so it's an invitational. The bad news for Tiger is it includes 17 of the best 26 players in the country, in the world, actually, I should say. With world number one Scotty Scheffler being, the big name, and Victor Howard, Colin McCoy, and plenty of others. So those are the things that Tiger has to do, and that is, overcome that. He's right now at plus 8,000, which puts him with Lucas Glover at the tail end of the betting scale.
Yeah, he's pretty much. I'm looking at the odds here, and he's pretty much the bottom, the biggest underdog in the competition. So
Wait a minute. Now, I was just checking. You actually are one. You're at seven. You're at 72.50 plus 72.50. So you actually are five. You know, a little. You're not too bad. You're not. You're a little ahead of Tiger there. So you got your clubs all set and ready to go, I guess.
yeah, I won't be able to golf up here. So I'm gonna make the trip down to
That's
Orlando.
Orlando, right?
Right.
Leaving after the show.
Tiger's coming off another ankle surgery. So I mean, I can beat him at least.
Here's the thing that you like golf. We like. I like golf. We love golf. Okay. Um, Tiger's when Tiger was at his prime, he hurt his back. Okay, and we all know that that's a problem for a golfer. Then he hurt his knee, right knee. Then he hurt his left knee. Then he had a car accident. I understand he's the bionic man. I understand he's Tiger, but there's only so much, rebuilding of a body that you can do. Because golf is tough on the body, and I know a lot of people who don't play it don't understand it, but golf's tough on your body, and even under the best of circumstances. And for Tiger to overcome all of the maladies that he's been thrown in his face here is difficult, and especially when you've got guys that are tremendous athletes ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely. Really, in any sport, and not even in
Mm-hmm.
golf, when you go, you get 3, 4 surgeries all for
Sure.
different parts of the body too. Then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it gets to a point where you really wonder when you're gonna just hang it up. But it's luckily for him, it's a sport where you can play into your older
Mm-hmm.
ages. So even through all the surgery, he's still playing. Now, is he going to play competitively? That's another question,
Right.
right? But I think at this point in his career, he's just going out there to have a leisurely time. Have
Yeah.
some fun with his buddy Justin Thomas there, who seems
Right.
to be his best friend on the tour.
Right.
Is Justin Thomas? Was he invited to this one? Just out of curiosity, I didn't
Let
see
me
the field yet.
let me look real quick.
because would love to know he's definitely going to be in a group with him. He'll find a
Yeah,
way to
Justin Thomas is. Yeah, JT is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is the fifth. He's plus 1450.
All right, there you go. Well, I'm sure Tiger will find a way to get into his group somehow.
Well, they live next door to each other down in South Florida there, so on the same golf course. So I'm pretty sure he can figure that one out. But yeah, it's one of the things that might help Tiger. Right, we were talking about playing into your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Is the Champions Tour? If he actually wanted to do that, that might be it. Because the Champions Tour, you're allowed to use a cart. So if Tiger didn't have to walk the tour and just had to play the game, but could use the cart, that might be, and remember that those tournaments are 3 days and not 4. So, and you're not, by the way, the other thing is, not that I'm telling any tales out of school, you don't have to hit from the gold tees. I mean, you can hit for the blue tees on that. So, first of all, you're not teeing off as far back, number one. Number two, you got a cart, which helps, save the legs. And maybe that would be, an opportunity for him to certainly, if nothing else, be competitive.
Yeah, definitely. That could be what he needs. Now, will he do it is another question.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, he seems like the kind where he'll stay on the tour as long as he can.
Well, and we've got that the Saudi money's coming into the tour, and not yet because it's taking a while to get there. They've got to go through a lot of hoops for the PGA to accept that money, which is ironic. We talked about this last year, where Rory McIlroy got burned, at the stake for that one. But anyway, it's I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a wild situation all the way down the line. But to be continued, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't think Rory. I think Rory was invited. I don't think he's there. Let me look. That was one of the names I didn't see. Let me see if I can get it back here, real quick. Victor Howland is the favorite. Scotty Scheffler's number 2. Morikawa is number 3. Homa is 4. Justin is, we already talked about him, 5. Fitzpatrick 6. Young 7th. Ricky Fowler 8. Jordan Spieth. Ricky Fowler's ahead of Jordan Spieth. Okay. Burns, Finau, Clark, Bradley, Herman, Zatolis, Day, Rose, Stakata, Glover, and Tiger. Nope. No Rory McIlroy on the list. So
must have been too many live golfers for him.
Yeah.
Decides to decline.
Either that or he's in the Caribbean just laying on an island going, I'll catch up with the rest of the guys in Hawaii, right after the first of the year. Or maybe he's home in Ireland for the holidays. You never know. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting tour season because we will see the LIV Tour back, and we will see some of the players who were on the LIV Tour playing in some of the tournaments just like last year. So, but it's going to be a lot less contentious, I guess, is the circumstances. Although I don't think that it's going to be as easily dropped as I think the PGA would hope it to be.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. I mean, so much has gone on with that over the last few years. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the influx of cash coming in. But
well, I mean, the expectations are, I mean, and we all know expectations aren't always reality. The expectations are that we could see purses double, which would be just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's you could see a tournament that normally is a $10 to $20 million tournament become a $40 million tournament.
Yeah, definitely gonna have an impact for sure. That's wow.
When you got double the money, and the courses and everything else are pretty much the same. I mean that's going to be. I'm not sure that there won't be a lot of guys who, how guys kind of skip tournaments because they just like, I'll let that one go. It's going to be hard to skip. Even one of the, let's say one of the smaller terms, right, had a 10 to 15 million dollar. And when I say that, obviously that's the purse. Obviously you don't get the winner who wins it doesn't get the $20 million, but they get somewhere in 7 to 10. So you figure, okay, I could end up with, maybe of that $15 million, I may end up with $8 to $9 million at the end of the day because it's now worth $25 million.
Yeah, definitely going to give some more motivation to some of these guys.
Some of these guys who skip a tournament going, I don't really go to Iowa this week. Well, guess what? I might want to go to Iowa this week. So, just saying. How about this? Jets fans, are you listening to me? That's right. 21 days. That's what he says. Aaron Rodgers has returned to Jets practice and says he should be ready in 21 days. The question is to him, Amadeus, or at least the question I'm posing to him, is you're going to be ready for what? To play football or just stand there with a clipboard? Because I don't know, man. We'll see.
We will see, but I saw that this morning that he was cleared to play by the doctors. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Jets are what now, 4-7, I think. They got a lot of work to get themselves just into a manageable wild card spot by the time he comes back. But it'll be interesting to see for sure. You're right. They could decide to hold him out when he's ready to come back, especially if they're 4-9 by then or 4-10.
Right. Justin, how you doing, buddy? Any thoughts on conference realignment and when it might get back up? Well, here's my thoughts on conference realignment and when it might come back. I think some of it might be what happens. Keep an eye on Oregon State and Washington State and the whole Pac-12 thing. Now, they just did a scheduling arrangement with the Mountain West, which makes sense. Let's see how the legal aspect of that plays out with the Pac-12 and how much money they get and whether or not they are in a position to rebuild and retool the conference. And if that's the case, then that might be it. I don't think we're going to see any SEC. I don't think we're going to see any ACC or any of the Big Ten or any major stuff for a while because I think they're going to let those TV contracts marinate a bit. Remember that next year you've got the Big Ten is going to expand by 4 schools. They only thought they were going to do 2, but now they're doing 4. You've got 4 more schools coming into the Big 12. You've got 3 more schools. Coming into the ACC. You got the SEC getting Texas and Oklahoma. So yeah, I don't think there's an appetite for it right now. I think they're going to let these contracts play out and see what's going on because honestly, there's only some amount of money that's going to be put out there. The thing to watch out for, in this case, Justin, is pay attention to 2025, which is the deal for the college football playoffs. The college football playoffs, I spoke to some of the people over there. They're very interested and very excited about the possibility of getting as many as 2 or 3 networks involved. So it would be like a Super Bowl-ish type situation. So it's not going to be just ESPN. It'll probably be ESPN. It'll probably be Fox. It could very well be NBC and maybe CBS. You never know. Or certainly it could very well be a streamer in there as well. So look for the money to be spent there. And so I don't think any of the networks want to, pony up any more cash to move teams to different leagues because, again, 4 teams coming into the Big Ten next year, 2 teams coming into to the SEC, 4 teams coming in the Big 12, and 3 teams coming in the ACC. That's a lot of movement and a lot of scheduling and a lot of getting used to each other. I don't think anybody wants to take on any more than what they already have. But so yeah, I think we're cool for let's see, 2024 is coming up, so I'm thinking, let's we'll see it again maybe 2027, 2028, something like that. So we can relax for a little while. And Notre Dame's now, they got their TV deal done with NBC, so they're not going anywhere. So I think that's where we are for the time being, my friend. So anyway, what do you think, Justin? You think there's going to be any changes? We'll see. All right, so there's that. Speaking of basketball, which we weren't, but now we are, college basketball tonight, which I'm sure you know, my friend, because that's part of your area of expertise. Villanova kicks things off tonight. They're going to play St. Joe's. So, that's a battle of 2 teams from the Philadelphia area. That's a 6:30 tip tonight. We got Texas A&M and Virginia, part of the SEC ACC battle. We got number 10 Tennessee taking on number 17 UNC. That is that's on ESPN tonight at 7:15. That's gotta be your game of the night. But Duke and Arkansas, that game is at 9:15. But here's one for you, my friend, because I know you're on them. The number 20, Colorado State. Rams are hosting the Colorado Buffaloes in a game tonight, and that one is a 9 o'clock tip, and that should be fun. Colorado going to Colorado State.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be on this one specifically, but Colorado State's been crushing it. Obviously, they had that big win against Creighton earlier this season,
right?
But we'll see what they do against Colorado. Colorado came into the season ranked in the preseason rankings, and now
what were they thinking?
Yeah, well, they're in the 20s, but still they're 5-1. I mean, it's not like they're terrible, but they lost their ranking, and now Colorado State is the ranked team. So you might get a little extra motivation from the Buffs here. It'll be a good game to watch. I'm with you. I think the Tennessee North Carolina game is the marquee matchup tonight. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I might be watching the Texas A&M Virginia one as well. That one's interesting to me. I think Virginia might be playing a bit with a chip on their shoulder just because they're coming into the season not ranked, and they've had a very good program under Tony for the last few years now. So I expect Virginia to come to play. They actually opened as a 1-point favorite. Now they're 3-point favorites. So
Tony Bennett made a career out of his ability to teach defense, and that's been the calling card for Virginia. Texas A&M is an up-tempo team, and so it's going to be a clash of styles, so that might be equally entertaining as well if that is the case. By the way, JMU, I forgot James Madison. How could I forget them? I shouldn't. They're hosting Buffalo tonight in Virginia, so James Madison, that's a 7 o'clock tip, Buffalo and James Madison. But it is kind of fun to see these up-tempo teams take on the defensive-oriented teams. And certainly Tony Bennett's probably, if you want to rank folks who, are coaches who have had success, with teaching defense and defense, playing a defense, certainly the way Tony's teams played, it requires that you be very, very patient and very, very disciplined. And I got to give credit. He has, year in and year out, turned out some really good defensive-minded teams that have won games that, you might think at the beginning they shouldn't win, but they definitely have they're definitely made the tournament. I think almost every year he's been coach there.
Yeah, pretty much. And they usually come in to the season ranked in the top
Yeah.
four as well. So this year they're not even ranked at all. And it'll be interesting to see what they do because I'm with you. It's all about that lockdown defense in Virginia. It's very tough, especially when they're going to have the home advantage in this game. You know, Texas A&M, they're ranked, but their last two
Mm-hmm.
games, I was on them their last two games, and they were scary. They went down. They got throttled by the one team they played. I think it was
Mm.
FAU, and then they got absolutely crushed in the first half against Iowa State. They were losing that game by 15 at one point before coming back in the second half to beat them by 4. But you know, if you go down by double digits against Virginia on the road here, you're not coming back in
No,
this
you
game.
get
So
on the bus, and save yourself some time.
yeah,
Um,
this Texas A&M team just can't trust them on the road in Virginia against a defensive team like that.
right. Well, they played that. They played FAU on neutral court, and
They're crushed.
they got. I you know, FAU has that big front court. I mean, massive front court. They got an NBA front court. So by all means, it was wild. It was totally wild, and they did what they. I mean, they basically kept them off the boards. And when you've got a team like Texas A&M, I said it's a tempo team. They like to play up tempo. If they're missing from outside and you're not getting the boards, forget it. And they got down real fast, and they couldn't get out of the hole that they were in. So it is what it is. But we'll see tonight. I do. I think you're right. I think that Virginia, Texas A&M could be, because of the different way they play basketball, the styles and such. It'll be an interesting game and should be kind of fun to watch. So we'll go there. We got something from Foxy here. VAR discuss. Okay, shamble.
Yeah,
Shambolic.
I will
What do you
say,
really think of VAR, Foxy? I mean, I really don't know what you're really not making it clear what you think of it.
I mean, he's right. They were ripped off on that last play. That shouldn't have been a
I'm sorry.
penalty.
They let's.
His Newcastle team.
Oh, okay.
They were up 1-0 against PSG all game, and in basically there was 4 minutes of stoppage time, and in the fourth
Mhm.
minute of stoppage, or in the third minute of stoppage time, they give a
Mhm.
penalty to PSG for a very weak handball. Now
Mhm.
I agree with Foxy, that was not a penalty. But at the same time, they whiffed on a more blatant handball earlier in the match that should have been a penalty, and the referee
Mhm.
did not call it. So, Foxy, I think your team got what they deserved yesterday.
So there you go. It is what it is, Foxy. What can we say, buddy? Sometimes. Well, I mean, Amadeus, you set it up. You said that they had a tough time. Even he set it up.
Yeah, they had no subs, as he said in his message there.
Yeah.
The depth is just, they scored an early goal and they sat on
Right.
defense for 60 minutes, and they played very well. But yeah, I think there was too much pressure. It was one of those nights though where like PSG could have scored 6 goals. It was one
Right.
of those nights where just everything went wrong for them. Bad bounces off the feed on these quick passes, right? And it was just everything that could go wrong for PSG went wrong. They couldn't score a goal if their life depended on it.
Well, unfortunately, you didn't. So that's a definite good thing there. You know, before we get too far away from the college basketball, I want to give you props. You talked about Miami yesterday, and Miami took Kentucky to the woodshed. 95-73. That's not usually what happens to Kentucky.
No, Kentucky won that game. It's the other way around. The Miami got
Oh, I'm sorry.
absolutely.
I thought it said overwhelmed by. My apologies.
Yeah, no, they Miami got dismantled. I was on Miami. That was a disappointing game, Jim. They suck. They
Sorry, I
came
brought it
out.
up
No,
now.
it's okay. It's okay. They came out. They sucked. They were down at. They were okay in the first half, but they were trailing the whole time. They were down by 10, and somehow they came back in the first half, took a lead, and then in the last 5 minutes they let it go. They were down by 5 at half, and then they just never had a chance coming out of halftime. So
They were doomed.
yeah, Kentucky's looking very good. So definitely, I mean, Miami still has a good team, but
Hmm.
yeah, obviously losing Isaiah Wong and a few other of their players there has really hurt them this season.
Got that bit. All right. Let's go to the NFL Power Rankings. They just came in. Number one, the Eagles. And we're not talking about Don Henley and the gang. It's Philadelphia's at 10-1. They are the number one team. That's the second week in a row. Now, you said this earlier, okay? Baltimore Ravens, 9-3. They're up 1 point, and they are in the number two spot. Our San Francisco 49ers are right there at the number three spot in the power rankings. And number four, Kansas City Chiefs. Number five, the Miami Dolphins. And they're going to lose Jalen Phillips. They're going to find out if he can play this week, but it's likely he won't be able to play. So those are the top five. Any problem with those top five?
No, I would say the top three are pretty clear cut. I think we're going to be getting a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl this year. That seems to be the way that it's trending, but we'll find out.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time that happened. And
And Jim, how
last time it
fitting would
happened.
it be? How fitting would it be for it to be this year, the year Harbaugh's leaving Michigan? That this was the game, this was the Super Bowl that signaled his leaving of the NFL. And how fitting would it be for these two teams to be in the Super Bowl to mark his return? I'm just gonna put my tinfoil hat on for a second, and I think something's in the air, Jim. It's gonna be Ravens 49ers this year. We're gonna see Harbaugh back in the NFL next year. Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, but not coaching the 49ers.
No, not
That
the 49ers.
yeah. No, I mean, in the last time that happened, it was in New Orleans. We all remember that part. What a lot of people forget is that they had that situation where right after halftime, the lights went out. And there was like a 15-minute extension. So there was like a 35-minute halftime, okay? They couldn't get the lights back on. San Francisco was winning that game. And all of a sudden, in the second half, Joe Flacco has the game of his life. And, Baltimore ends up beating San Francisco in the only game in NFL Super Bowl history where two coaches who were brothers coached against each other. Head coaches. There have been brothers who've been, assistant coaches or assistant coach and a head coach situation. But this one, the first time, it was one of those kind of things. And so it was a lot of fun to see that the Harbaugh boys. And now, as you say, it's quite possible. Who knows where Jim will land? It could be Cleveland. He could end up in the same division with his brother. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see. But I don't think your hat is tinfoil. I think that I think that's a good possibility, and especially if Michigan can make it at least to the title game, right? We don't know right now whether or not that Jim's. Well, I try to see. Have you seen anything about whether he can coach in the championship game this week?
I
Because
was
I
under
haven't
the
seen
impression
anything about it.
I was under the impression he's allowed to because his suspension was only 3 games.
There's 3 games, right?
They told him you're not going to finish the season. They never said anything about postseason. So
Okay. So you're
I
saying,
think he'll be back, shouldn't he?
well, okay. Look, okay. Let's keep that tin foil on for a moment.
And the thing is, if you Google his name, it's just going to be like the NFL stuff that comes up, right?
Right. Is that part's not coming up. I think the interesting part with this is if Jim could take them to a championship game. I don't think he even has to win, you know. But if he would go all the way through and Michigan would win, then, he goes out, in a blaze of glory, leaves his Michigan team with the, with the team, with the coaching staff that's already there, and heads off into the NFL. I don't think he has to do any of that to leave to go to the NFL. But I'm just saying, I think that would be the scenario. If there was a scenario that Jim would want to paint, that would be the paint the scenario that way. And if that were the case, I'm pretty sure Ryan Day would drive him to the airport.
Yeah, and especially if they win the national championship,
yeah,
he's gonna feel like the job is done.
Yeah, I went there to win your national. I knocked out Ohio State the last 3 years. What more do you want? I came here. I saw, I conquered. So, and I think even if he played in the national championship game but didn't win, I still think that would be enough to get him, to move on. So we'll have to see, but I'm pretty sure that's something that we'll have to keep a lookout for. And that championship game if he loses the championship game to Iowa, that could be chaotic. I don't think he's gonna have to worry about that.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a game Iowa's gonna score in. Like,
yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned it could be a soccer bet.
Yeah, I love Iowa as a team.
Oh yeah, right.
Like I love them. I've been riding them a lot this year. I was on them against them. Everybody was on Nebraska, and I trust my Iowa. I look at it like they haven't had an offense for 5 years with Spencer Petras. Why would it matter now that McNamara's out, right? But no, this is one. They're not scoring on that defense. Come on, this is a win to nil. You hear that, Foxy? Nice win to nil action in some American football for you.
There you go. I remember one of the last game of the season. We did a noon game at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, where the Hawkeyes play, and it was against who was it against? It was Michigan. Michigan and Iowa were the final game of that particular season. And they didn't have lights at the stadium in Iowa, but we figured, okay, it's noon. Who cares, right? Well, much like you were talking earlier in the show about the snow coming in, we heard that there was going to be snow, and it might make it around the fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, it got dark. And I mean so dark we had to, that last quarter was, I'm not sure our announcers saw anything because, it was dark in the stadium. It was dark everywhere. And we're like, okay, we'll see if we can make it through. But we made it through, and it didn't start snowing till at least we got out of the way. But we could be seeing that in Indiana this week, but they're playing inside, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and as you said, that really helps Michigan out. So
yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
Well, Iowa's got a quick defense, so I don't know. I think I just think that Michigan has more athletes, and that will pose a problem, I think, for Iowa. Yeah.
I was say Iowa's defense lives on turnovers. They need
the
elements. They need those slippery ball, the rain.
They'll be punching. They'll be punching at everything and trying to knock the ball loose. Look, stranger things have happened than Iowa upsetting Michigan. So, just ask them about App State. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun. Tomorrow we're gonna start talking about some, Thursday night NFL football, and then we get into the Friday night when you and I have got our popcorn ready, and that Washington and Oregon game should be the game of the weekend. And then we get into the weekend when we got all of our key games, both on college and on the pro side. And by Monday, when we talk, we'll know who's going to be in those 4 bowl spots.
Yeah, definitely. So it'll be an interesting weekend, that's for sure.
Yep. So
Just because of the college football playoff alignment.
that's right. So with that in mind, we're going to let Mr. Amadeus get to work because he has things to do, and we'll with all the stuff coming up, and it's staggered over the week, so it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday situation. So we'll let him get to that. But before you go, by all means, let people know that not just in the show box, but everywhere they can find you.
Yeah, make sure you check out my premium plays at bigowl.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. The links are in the description below. I'm coming off a 3-4 day, so not great, but it's a bounce back Wednesday. I got 3 Champions League up for 3 o'clock this afternoon. You can get, as well as some Brazilian soccer if you're into the
Wow.
South American soccer scene. I also have a La Liga play, and then 2 college basketball and 2 NBA, including my NBA non-conference game of the month. So go check that out. I'm on a perfect 5-0 run right now.
Wow. You're better off than some of the teams playing in that tournament. Okay, so there you go. All right, everybody. We will see you on Thursday. Be well, and thanks for joining us today. If you didn't get a chance to see us live, leave a comment. Give us a like. Doesn't cost you anything. A lot of fun, okay?